Welcome, welcome to the living room. This is Lavon Vaughn, where I teach that we're learning how to live healthy, even though we're living in a toxic world. Healthy living inspirations. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to have a little chat about the bread of life. I'm going to go over here to share screen, and you guys let me know if you can see my slides, because if you cannot see my slides, then we're going to have to go out and go back in. Can you see my slide?
Looking good, looking good.
Everybody says looking good, looking good. Awesome. Well, we are going to get rolling here. So I'm recording. So those that you come on board, Karen, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on a Thursday evening as the sun goes down here on the East Coast. I think we have represented West Coast, East Coast, and somewhere in between that lovely sandwich. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to acknowledge that Jesus is the bread. And what kind of bread is he? He is the bread of life. There is no better bread than the bread of life. See, when somebody offers you a slice of bread, you want to eat something that is going to cause inflammation in your body, something that's going to cause dis-ease in your body, or are you going to receive something that's going to actually nurture your body and bring life? Well, we live a spiritual life. I'm going to say it like this: life is spiritual and it is physical. And many times what's happening in the physical is a reflection of something that's happened or happening in the spiritual. So John 6:35 talks about, I am the bread of life. And we can understand now, as we go through this presentation about the bread of life, we're going to understand the value of what is in the bread, spiritually speaking, and we're going to understand what the value is in the bread physically. Because a long time ago, I could see the parallels of someone who was malnourished with the Word of God, and then someone who is malnourished physically from, the nutrients that God created from God's pharmacy, Pharmcy. Bread was everything and still is everything, because Jesus was telling us in that scripture verse that he is our everything. He's our daily sustenance. He's our daily everlasting salvation. So my question is, what is your main dish? Well, what is your main dish delight? Well, let's take a look. What is your main dish delight? Let's have him, Jesus, as our everything, our plate, our main menu, our protein, our sugar, our carbs. Let him be our protein, our vegetables, our oils. Let him be our dessert. Let him be our whole plate over our life, our meal, even our napkin that we've got to wipe up our messes with his grace and mercy. So let's eat and live. Verse 50 talks about when we eat from the bread of life, we will live. That's true in the spirit realm. And life is spiritual. So it's also true in the physical. And we're now going to discover that. We're going to go on a little journey and discover just how important these grain oils really are. Well, this story starts here. Why? Because, when you share a story, don't you go back to the pioneer? If you want to know the backstory of something, you go to the pioneer. Who pioneered this? Who discovered this? Well, the pioneers in cellular nutrition, the bread of life, is coming from Neolife. You're looking at one of the not the original logo, but one of the original logos of Neolife, which is 3 prongs of wheat, representing that we actually get the staff of life is in the bread of life. And so we're celebrating an impact of 65 years this year of everything being based in nature and backed by science. As a matter of fact, the very, very first Neo-Life logo was the Bible open up and the wheat bursting out from the pages of the Bible to represent that Neo-Life represented life from the very beginning of 1958. So let's go on this journey. Lipid therapy. Lipid means oils. Well, we all know that if your lamp is getting low, your light's going to be dim, right? So if your lamp is low and your light is dim, you're going to be in trouble. Lipid means oils. So we need an oil change here in America, but we got to start with the first basic foundation and the most important oils. And that's cellular oils, cellular treatment. What message are you broadcasting at the cell level? Are you broadcasting the message of life? Well, get to the core so your body can just break through, break out, and do more. So let's take a look. Cell origin, the smallest living parts. Life begins at the cell level. I don't think anybody would argue with that one. Life is maintained. Whoops, yes, at the cell level. And every disease is traced back to the cell. So in other words, if you fix the cell, you fix the root of the problem. The body is made up of hundreds of trillions of cells with different functionalities. It's the building blocks and your foundation of all life. You and I began with one cell and meeting that amazing explosion. And then all of a sudden, those cells begin to divide and multiply, creating the unique you that you are today. So life begins, maintains, and ends at the cell level. And I don't think anybody could argue over that one. So is your cell brain turned on? Why? Because cell membrane is the real command control center of the cell. As a matter of fact, for years, they thought it was the DNA, or they thought it was the nucleus, or they thought it was the mitochondria. Wow, but no, they've now discovered that it's the brain of the cell is the membrane, the border that is the moat that protects the DNA, that protects the mitochondria, that protects the nucleus. So if you are in a war, would you say that your fortress that protects your family are the most important components of waging that war is the most important part of your warfare strategies? So let's take a look. Oh my goodness. So we're facing some let's say, strange situations today where dis-ease and chronic types of diseases are just getting out of control. So our cells are saying something here. They're speaking to us, and they're saying, excuse me, there's no order at the border. So how can you have a healthy nation in your body if there's no order at the border? So if your cells are starved, stupid, and constipated, then it's going to produce a sick cell. If you don't fix the cell, you won't get well. So healthy cells are cells that bring in nutrition and are able to expel the toxins, whether it's a bone cell, whether it's a blood cell, whether it's a skin cell, nerve cell. It really doesn't matter because the basic functionality of all your cells in your body are the same. So let's take a look at some research that's been done on these amazing lipids, this lipid therapy that's only found in our grains. So let's take a look at some research. This is a research titled Healthy People in 2010, and this research was done by the USDA, stating that the lack of whole grains, and this is not just the grains itself, but it's the lyophilized oils that I'm speaking about that come from those grains, which are called the lipids and sterols. They have become the single most common deficiency in our modern diet. Wow, let that sink in. The single most common deficiency? So when's the last time you got a commercial on your Facebook saying, oh my goodness, warning, warning, warning. The single most common deficiency in the modern diet is sterols and lipids. Well, the richest source of phytosterols are whole grains, including wheat, rice, and soybeans. But these critical nutrients are routinely stripped from whole grains during processing to avoid a spoilage. And this started happening way back in the late 1940s that this started happening. So we're looking at several generations that are suffering from severe deficiency in these amazing lyophilized oils. Let's take a look at some more research that shows the benefit of having these grain oils in your body. A sterile lies cancer. Oh my goodness. This is research that's done by Dr. Fink and State University in New York, Buffalo, talking about that C word. They propose that one of the greatest potential benefits of these phytosterols offer their ability to protect against cellular damage. The amount of phytosterols consumed in the diet has decreased drastically since the 1950s. But what has happened since the 1950s? These metabolic type of diseases have escalated, especially the C word, and specifically colon, prostate, breast, and they actually did studies in Asia where they actually get more of these grain oils, phytosterols, than we do here in America. And it shows here that they have a whole lot less of these metabolic types of diseases. So phytosterols inhibit what their conclusion was to this study in Dr. Fink with State University was that phytosterols inhibit cell division. They stimulate tumor cell death, not growth. That means these phytosterols come equipped with an intelligent language of life, and they modify some of the hormones that actually play a part in tumor overgrowth. That means irregular cell reproduction. So that is great news when it comes to this particular metabolic disorder. How about another metabolic disorder on heart disease? Lipids, you gotta love them. Wow, a sterilized diet is a healthy diet. You gotta love those lipids for the heart. Now, plant-based fats called phytolipids play a critical role in heart health and overall cellular efficiency. Well, guess what? Neolife knew this 65 years ago when we first used lipids to create our amazing pioneer, one-of-a-kind formula, tray and grain concentrates. Phytolipids contribute to regulating a wide range of cellular functions that help the heart and the cardiovascular system. From the amount of inflammation, isn't the heart and all your cardiovascular system fighting the inflammatory issues? occurring inside the cells, and regulation of heart muscle contractions to maintaining free blood flow without excessive clotting. So that's regulating the clotting, regulating blood flow, and key immune system responses. So we're already gathering a host of benefits that God put in these grains called lyophilized factors that can address irregular cell reproduction, that can address heart cardiovascular issues. So let's move right along. How about athletes or those that work out, or just overall vitality, gaining strength and maintaining vitality, building muscles and things like that? Well, there was a study done by Dr. Patrick Boak showed that marathon runners can recover more quickly without the acute, there's your word, inflammation. That's been associated with excessive physical stress and workouts. So this is great news for athletes, but it's also great news for you and I if you're over 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Why? Because the older you get, the more your body takes a pound and takes a licking, but you can just get up and keep on ticking because you're going to regenerate your cells, and you're going to have healthy cells that can expel this inflammation that builds up. So, when sterile enriched supplements are introduced, they have shown this. In addition to demonstrating quicker recovery, don't we all want a quicker recovery from these athletes taking sterile supplements? Had immune systems that were less compromised. Oh my goodness. So, don't we want an immune system that is less compromised, that actually has more, let's say, defenses up? Aren't we talking about the moat around the castle protecting our precious treasures that are inside that castle? Aren't we talking about the order at the border of our healthy nation? Yes, we are. Oh my goodness. Let's stack on those benefits and let's see what Neolife actually proved in research with athletes. This was done way back in 1958 when we first conducted our research. Well, Iowa, you know anybody that lives in Iowa? The Cleveland Browns. Actually, we did studies with our Tray and grain concentrates with the Iowa State Cleveland Browns. And what did they find? They found out that supplementing with the Neolife Tray NN for professional athletes tested showed substantial improvements in stamina and biochemistry among these healthy athletes. Is that good news? That's great news. That's amazing news. This actually hit the newspaper. These are clips from the newspaper from those original studies that were done. So let's move right along. Here's some more studies that were done on that original testing from our lipid treasures of concentrate grain oils. That how is it helping with coping with stress, your adrenals, your hormones that take a hit every day when stressful situations occur? As a matter of fact, this is a study that was done showing a significant impact with your adrenal activity. Look here, 175% boost in your adrenal activity. This is all of your glandular systems rising to the occasion, not taking a hit and cowing down and bowing down and then causing decline, but actually able to handle stressful situations. Estrogenic activity, androgenic activity was also increased in male and female. You can see this 234% in the female and 155% in the male. So this is great news when everybody's like taking all these synthetic hormones. Well, here's something that our Creator put within our grains as a provision for cellular nutrition and a provision for hormone balance and activities. So what are the powers of hormones? Well, adrenals can actually affect allergies or thyroid or weight gain and just being tired all the time. How about pancreas activity of insulin and diabetes? And how about brain function? Yes. And the brain will actually manufacture fear if the hormones are not balanced. So we want to get our hormones back into balance. This is a foundation for our generation. Let me tell you, we got so many of young girls that their hormones are wackadoodle because they're missing these amazing granules that God created. And we have these young men also that are doing crazy things. You can Google that, crazy things young teenage boys do because they need their hormones balanced. So let's move right along and see some more amazing benefits, studies that's been done, research that's been done on these amazing sterols and lipids. Lipids and sterols are fats, which are essential to life, just like that bread I talked about. They provide energy and house fat soluble vitamins and many phytonutrients. Phospholipids are structural components of cell membranes, emulsifiers, precursors of acetylcholine, which is brain health, an important neurotransmitter. Other lipids, such as omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids, are essential to health, playing roles in brain development and controlling inflammation. A lot of your depression, a lot of your anxiety, a lot of your issues with just the brain activities from inflammation. Without properly balanced lipids and sterol levels, cells can become malnourished, which can lead to cellular fatigue. Lipids and sterols play a vital role in assimilation of nutrients at the cell level. So in other words, it's not what you take in, it's what you assimilate at the cellular level that's going to make a difference and shift your health back into a balance. So what are your cellular needs? Is if cells are unable to assimilate the nutrients they need, which is about 59 nutrients on a daily basis with your vitamins and minerals, those lipids are first and foremost, paramount. They're most important. They're the foundation. Then no amount, this is real important because no amount of available nutrients will result in optimal nutrition. So in other words, all nutrition programs need to start with these lipids and sterols because you can take in tons of vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, but unless you've addressed the fundamental foundation of your cellular border, then you're not going to optimize any of those other nutrients that are really important too. So likewise, unbalanced lipids and sterols may contribute to cellular fatigue. Sterols are a class of lipids which include precursors of hormones, cholesterol, a component of all cell membranes, by the way, and precursors of vitamin D. So here is lipids and sterols play a part in your body making vitamin D, which is a hormone. Together, these lipids and sterols make up most of the two-layer blanket. It's like covering you in a blanket of blessing, because that blanket is going to protect you, that blanket is going to nurture you, that blanket is going to nourish you, that surrounds every single cell in your body. So Trey-N-N, I'd like to share with you the Trey-N-N story. 12 years in the making. You see, nothing good happens, let's say, nothing lasting happens instantly. Now, Even when God does something instantly, there's been somebody praying for a long time for that breakthrough to happen. So a farmer knows that he has to plow the ground. He has to plant the seed. He has to wait for the nourishment of the sun and the rain and all the things before he says, okay, boys, it's time to harvest. So 12 years in the making, medical research at North Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital, a key nutritional factor affecting what they knew was at the cellular level, they were lacking stamina. There was hormones that were malfunctioning. There was a deficiency in nutrient utilization that was missing in hundreds and even thousands of these patients. And they were patients like Hollywood movie stars to migrant workers across the board experiencing this. And they knew that there was something missing from the diet of their patients at this hospital. So they got a grant to do a study. And they knew it was contributing to inflammation, it was contributing to premature aging at the cellular level. They tried 76 different supplements that were tested before the researchers learned that food refining laid at the very base of all these problems. Voila, it's like the light shining on the problem. So they began to identify these three oils, the two lipids and the sterol that came from wheat, rice, and soybeans. And they realized that these were being discarded out of our food supply. So they thought, let's put them back into all of these people that are part of this research. And voila, they called it the Treanin, which means the 3-in-1, the Greek term 3-in-1. When the subjects that were part of this research were tested from these extracts were shown to improve nutrient utilization by 50% and improve overall functioning of the adrenal stress coping glands, male and female sex organs. Wow, the research showed a remarkable transformation for one of the original owner's wife. She recovered from a severe case of rheumatoid arthritis. So he obtained the formula because you can't patent a food. And so they weren't interested in, let's say, promoting the formula. They were only interested in selling it, patenting it, and selling it. And since you can't patent a food, so they actually sold it to Wally Wimmer, the husband of his wife, that her life was transformed. Well, Dr. Restifo, who actually was in charge of this research, told Wally Wimmer, when he officially obtained the formula, he said, if you will share this amazing discovery of these lipids and sterols with the people, you will be doing something 16 times more important than we doctors do, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So this was the discovery, was the birthing of Neolife in 1958. So amazing, proven, effective in laboratory tests. So let's take a look at this. Scientists have known for years that lipids and sterols are required for normal cellular functioning, glandular activity, and overall growth and development. A series of studies conducted at the Texas A&M University in 1987 after 1958 confirmed the nutritional benefits of Treanin grain concentrates, lipids, and sterols from that wheat, rice, and soybean. It was a 7-week study, and it looked at growth and development, and maturation, and glandular activity of rats that were studied. They gave a controlled group of rats, and then they gave them these grain oils, and then they gave others the same amount of food without the grain oils. Wow, what a difference. when the amount of food was consumed, they came back and found that the rats that consumed the TRANN, wow, they actually grew, had more muscle, they had more stamina, they had more
Okay, I found this
structure.
on the web for a series of
Oh
studies
my goodness.
conducted at the Texas A&M.
I've got some kind of Siri or something popping up on my laptop. So they found that the actual growth production of the rat wasn't skinny and scrawny. It was actually robust and muscular. So it was a difference between an alpha rat and a puny rat. So they discovered that in addition to cardiovascular system, that they found that TRANN, the rats that were fed the TRANN group actually developed better glandular activity, adrenal activity, had more energy, and was able to handle stress more. Oh, would you say the world needs Neolife TRANN? Yes. Here's an actual picture of that study. The actual picture of the study showed a 50% improvement in muscle, bone strength, muscle strength. Animals given grain oil concentrate showing here. Wow. This is an amazing discovery. I had a question the other day when somebody asked me, they have children that their doctors are saying, or grandchildren, that they're not growing and maturing according to their age development. Their bones and their muscles and their body is just not growing because these grain oils are missing from their diet. Wow. Here is a picture proof of the research that was done at Texas A&M University using our formula. So here is some of the research that was done showing the Texas A&M University glandular support increase and nutritional utilization up by 50%, and growth and development improvement by a great percentage. So again, this is important. It's valuable. We need it. All age groups need this, by the way. Our children need this. Our middle age, our teenagers, our middle age, our teenage girls that are suffering from PCOS and cycle issues that are suffering. It's because they're missing these important grain oils that regulate your hormones. So let's take a look at exactly how this brain of this cell operates. Obviously, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor, but I like to see the basic structures. So the membrane is the brain. Remember, it is the brain, TRANN cell structure and function. So it's the lipid layer and bilayer. It's the protection. So it's like the skin of every cell. And your skin is your largest organ, and it's your number one self-defense, by the way, when it comes to invasions of anything from bacteria to virus and things like that. So we talked about it controls hormones, nervous system, and protection system. It controls your gates and your doors. Oh my goodness, open the gates, open the doors to the good stuff, and shut the gates and shut the doors to the things that terrorize your cell. It's a moat of protection for the precious treasures in the castle. It's coded to the language of life. It's the intelligence center. It's kind of like the crystal in the chip inside your computer that is the main control center. It's the forest of polysaccharide sugars. It's receptors that bind and reject environmental toxins. And it's the intelligence factor to know the difference between a foreign invader and a friendly foe that's bringing in good things. It's an insulator. It's a filter. It's basic cellular function. All nutrition has to start here, or else you're missing out on the major part and the major function of all your other parts of your nutrition. So taking a look at, the Tray Cell Miracle, Tray provides its cold pressed, its phytolipids, including healthy omega-6 and 3s, a part of your fatty acids, and it's the phytosterols of the beta, gamma, stemma, camp, and the octa, which is all the family of the sterols. It doesn't just contain one. And I know I used to take something called evening primrose oil. And I also used to take flaxseed oil. Well, I was only getting one and it was not cold pressed. So it was like one that's oxidized, excuse me. I want the whole farm that God provided that's not oxidized, that's cold extracted. And the Tray that's what it provides for your cellular miracle. It's optimized cellular function, whole grain lipids and sterols. The benefits are amazing. And again, the most powerful, potent extracts are coming from the wheat, the soy, and the rice. So voila, here is our modern day Tray. Feed your cells. Your cells are hungry. And a hungry cell is usually a hangry cell. And if you got a hangry cell, you're going to actually fall into what? A lot of adrenal issues, a lot of anxiety at the cell level. You want to calm down those cells so that you can actually calm down your glandular system, your hormones. You want to feed them because they're hungry for natural resources that God provided, our Creator provided. Enhances cellular energy, optimizes cell membrane function. Nutrients now are happy, they're getting in. Toxins are being pushed out. Whole grain lipids and sterols allow your cell membranes to become their flexible best, making it easier for nutrients to get in and waste to get out. So, in other words, without the bread of life, folks, we are toast. And we need this bread of life. And this is why I'm going to emphasize it on every presentation. Why? Because nobody else has this. It's exclusive to Neolife. It is kind of like how, what I feel that God had his hand on this formula. He birthed it forth as man extracted it out of God's original plan. Then God says, well, I have another plan to put it into a formula that can help humanity. So to me, quality makes a difference. And here are a few quotes about why quality does matter. One would spend a long time searching for multiple supplement that comes anywhere close to what is available that Neolife has painstakingly pioneered for 65 years, starting with that 12-year foundation built upon those grain oils. So here are some quotes worth thinking about. The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of the low price is forgotten. So forget your buy two, get two free, or buy three and get four free. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. And that's a quote by Warren Buffett. And how about this one? It's unwise to pay too much, but it's worse to pay too little. When you pay too much, you lose a little money. That is all. But when you pay too little, you sometimes lose everything because the thing you bought was incapable of doing the thing it was bought to do. I love this quote. If you snap a picture of that, John Ruskin, this is an amazing quote, because don't you want your nutrition to shift your health to the better pathway, to the lane that grants you more energy, more vitality, more protection, boosting your immunity, a cellular function? Yes. So if you save a few dollars from a inferior formula or inferior product, but it's not doing what you bought it to do, does that make sense? And then over here, quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. And I think that's what we bring across here at Neolife, 65 years of intelligent effort, of a inherited credibility, legacy credibility that was built on a 12-year research. So you're looking at 65, 75, 77 years of research, that if you go back to the original 12 years of the making of this amazing pioneer formula, Tray. So how strong are the links in your nutritional chain? They're not going to be very strong if you're not including this amazing formula. I'm convinced the quality of supplements one puts inside the human body matters a good deal, more than the quality of the oil one puts into your car. It is much easier to buy a new car, but rather than obtain a new body once it has been destroyed by a lifetime of bad nutritional choices. Make sure the supplement you choose is capable of delivering optimal nutrition, which individual cells can utilize, and turns on the maximum light for maximum cell activity production. So I don't know about you, but I'm hitting a stage in my life that I need to hit the max when it comes to nutritional supplementation. And you're hitting the max with a Pro Vitality right here. 12 pounds of whole grain lipids and sterols sit in 1 tRNN a day for 30 days. And of course, we talk about the carotenoid complex. That's 80 pounds you'd have to consume of dark colored fruits and vegetables to get taking 1 carotenoid every day in your omegas, 10 servings, 4-ounce servings of omega fish in every single box. So we already planned and put that tray-in as part of the foundation of the oiling up of your cells, starting and addressing that cellular deficiency of that border. Cellular foundation always starts with Tray, lipid therapy, your omegas, your carotenoids, 21 vitamins and minerals, and of course, adding your 22 amino acids and 25 vitamins and minerals on the breakfast solution. So when we start somebody on a breakfast solution, we are genuinely starting somebody on a better path to health. It's not hype. It's not hearsay. It's not manufactured or fabricated by a marketing group. It's based and built on 77 years of research, always looking as a philosophy to nature as our guidelines. So I'd like to share this with you because we do have an enemy to our health. And this is something I found out of a book that was entitled Big Banker Philosophy. It was a quote out of that book: is sugar, salt, tobacco, aluminum, and fluoride water over a period of years with perhaps other slow poisons will help to ensure that they expire before they retire. If there were fewer people bidding against each other's money or credit, would keep its value. So these are the money exchangers of the world. This is a quote from the book, Keeping Our Money Healthy. Now, I'm telling you, this speaks volumes, published by the Federal Reserve Bank in New York City. So on purpose, by design, cultural engineering. See, so these nutrients are extracted out, but again, our creator provides them, puts them back just the way that they were intended. So we have the opportunity to share that one of a kind, amazing nutrition, making a difference. And I like to say, wisdom from the grave, nature alone cures. That was a quote by Florence Nightingale in the 1900s. Natural forces within us are the true helpers. That's Hippocrates. How about this one? From Antoine Béchamp, which he says germs do not cause disease in the real sense. They exist, but they're not in the real sense. Something happens in the body to allow the germs to become invasive. And we just learned that it's when you don't have a healthy border, then you're not going to have a healthy order to your cell structure. So each patient carries his doctor inside of him, and that was Albert Schwartz, Nobel Prize winner. And the germ is nothing, but the terrain is everything. And that was Louis Pasteur, founder of microbiology. And then the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will involve the patient in the proper use of food, fresh air, exercise, and that was Thomas Edison. I love to draw from bright minds that knew truth and was able to apply that truth. And it's easy to apply the truth when you have the components that make up truth. Wisdom from the grave again, malnutrition in the USA. Men dig their graves with their own teeth and die more by those fated instruments than the weapons of their enemies. Thomas Moffat. Optimal nutrition, again, quote from Linus Pauling, will be the medicine of the future. So how do we start our optimal nutrition? Well, we start with Tray and N, bread, concentrates, because if we do not take in the bread of life, we are toast. So keep calm and take Neolife Bread of Life concentrates. Thank you so much for listening, and share it with others so that they can too be enlightened with these amazing formulas that Neolife has pioneered over the years. Thank you so much.
Okay, when I started with Neolife, taking new nutritionals with Neolife in 2013, I was consulting with Lavon, and I said, I got 2 bottles of this Tray and N. How much should I take? And she said, as much as you can take. And at the time, I had thyroid disease, and I used to take Synthyroid every day and was told I would take that medication for the rest of my life. So I took 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 10 a day. And I believe that it's so important for therapeutic doses of stuff to arrest whatever it is going on. And so not even a year later, when I had blood work done, I had no more thyroid disease. So the power of whole food nutrition is beyond anything we can even wrap our head around, you know?
And that is fantastic, Deborah Campbell. You're an amazing testimony of that. And you know, your thyroid's a gland. It's a hard-working gland. It's got a receptor and has to serve all of your cells. So if your cells are working better and your hormones are communicating better, then the thyroid takes a break and it's not going to wear out quickly. Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else want to give a Tray and N testimony? Anne, go right ahead.
So I was diagnosed with celiac disease. And when I was first introduced to Neolife, I took out the Tray and N and took the pack of 3. And then finally I started adding it back, and I didn't have a reaction. So I just wanted to give a comment and a suggestion that if you have somebody like me, you tell them, if you're, worried about it, take that one out until your cells start to heal, because you're taking the Pro Vitality. And I think that's what allowed me to finally be able to take all 4 of the nutrients there in the breakfast pack, because I was taking the other nutrients, my body was healing. And then when I finally took it, the Pro Vitality, I didn't have issues, and I haven't since.
Okay,
Awesome.
so you didn't take the Tray-in at first, but you took the other three until your cells started getting an adjustment, your inflammation started coming down because you have celiac. All right. For those of you who are might concerned about grain oils, oh my goodness, you know, they've written the books, the grain brain. And if you have celiac, you can't have any grains at all. Just a reminder, these are the lyophilized oils. They're not the carb, they're not the, so you don't have the carbs, the calories, or the gluten that is in a normal grain. So this is it's separated from the gluten, it's separated from the carbs, it's separated from the calories, it's separated from the wheat. It's the lyophilized oils. And you're right, and your cells will begin to open up. You're going to have what is called cellular detox. So you had to take that cellular detox slowly. And I remember Louis telling about how he's had several people that had such compromised immune systems that they had to open the capsule and just take a few drops on their tongue because they couldn't even take a whole capsule of the Tray-in because it started detoxing them. So yes, take it in small increments if you have been diagnosed with severe issues like celiac and situations like that. But with Deborah, she took how many a day? 3, 6, 9, and it was like, okay, Deborah never does anything in little increments. She's all in, girl. So she's like, so she got results quickly with that. But again, every body's cellular function is at a specific stage. I don't know how severe that is. So sometimes you want to start out slowly if it is a severe toxicity and inflammation. Good point. Anybody else want to share a testimony? To unmute. Yes, Oh, Mary, go right ahead. Hello.
Hello. I just want to say I want to thank God for Neil Life, just because it just makes a huge difference. And in my joints and stuff, because being a massage therapist, that's helped a lot without being sore a lot. And then plus just in my feet where they were swollen before, and because of the thyroid and stuff, it just my feet would hurt when I would get up in the morning. But when I started doing this and start realizing when I put my feet down, they didn't hurt when I stepped on my feet when I woke up in the morning. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So that's my little short story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, it's great for the joints. It's great for, because you're doing physical activity repeatedly every day, and it's heavy physical activity, and you need support. You need to recover, just like they talked about the athlete could recover quickly. Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary.